Hello. Good afternoon, 8th period. How are you doing? You can go ahead and there's empty chairs over here if you want to switch places. You're still nearby, but just so you can see. All right, so we're getting set up for notes. A couple things I want to do for you on today's notes is not only help you through the algebra of using the distance and the midpoint formulas, but I also want to give you some tips and some tricks that you can use the next time you run into that teacher or that college professor that insists that you write everything that person says down, doesn't give you any lecture notes to print out for you to look at and read, and then goes, oh, and there's going to be a test on this tomorrow. And you're like, what? Right? So there's going to be two things for you to do that I'm going to model for you today. The first one is on your phone. Okay? On your phone, yes, it's Thor. If you go to your apps, on mine it happens to be right next to my alarm clock, but there should be an app called Voice Recorder on most phones. If it's not there, I'm pretty sure it's a free download. Mine came with it. Okay? So if you go to Voice Recorder, it literally comes up with, sorry, let me turn the brightness down a little bit. It literally comes up with a way that you can add a voice recording. So if I turn this on, it's recording out everything the microphone. That was Siri. It's now recording everything that the microphone of this phone is picking up. So if you run into that teacher that just starts talking and doesn't stop for an hour, and then the bell rings and they were like in the middle of a sentence, but you have to pack up and go, you can at least record and listen to that lecture again to catch the important parts of what that person said. So when I take notes, and I have a professor that does this, I turn this on and I point the microphone in the direction of that professor, and then my notes are just like, oh, at 45 seconds, she said something important. Or at 50 seconds, there was something I didn't understand, so I'm going to put a question mark. So then my page is nothing but time, and then a symbol for important, interesting, or question mark.
I got to download the app.
You got to download the app? Okay. And then you can go back and listen to it later. Check it out.
It's recording out everything the microphone. That was Siri. It's now recording everything that the microphone of this phone is picking up.
Now, you can practice with this already here in high school. And in my class, I'm completely happy with you if you turn it on, put on your phones, and then turn it so the screen is against your desk and just leave your phone there. Because I know you're recording me. You don't have to, because I'm already recording for you. Right? I'm already doing that. I'm already posting to YouTube. So you don't have to. But you can if you want to. There might be some teachers here who don't want to see the phone out at all because they think you're doing something horrible with it, right? In which case, when they're not looking, you walk in, turn it on real quick, and then just stuff it in your backpack in the pocket with the microphone pointing up, and then just leave it there. And let it record all class period. And you can deal with it later. Okay? So that way they don't see it, but you're still recording it, especially if it's that one class where the teacher goes and talks a mile a minute, and you're like, well, what? And you don't, right? I don't need to know names. I don't know. But I'm sure you have, I might be one, of those teachers that just talks way too fast for you.
Yeah, but you recorded it.
But I record it for you, so I take that out of your hands. But if you've got one that doesn't record for you, now you know how to do it for yourself. Okay? Throughout the rest of today's lecture notes,
Miss, what are those little things about?
the little dots, I dropped my projector ages ago, so it's broken. They're dots, that's all. Okay? Ladies in the back, stay with us, please, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So today is Algebra Connections. We're going to be looking more closely at the midpoint and distance formulas. Along with that algebra. formulas, plural? Okay. The other thing that I'm going to show you that you can do is the use of what's called, right here, is a technique called shorthand. And what shorthand does is it takes normal writing and it makes it shorter and faster. So I'm going to show you my version of shorthand, okay? And I'm going to use the directions from the blue book and I'm going to shorthand those. So please make sure you have your blue books open. We're on page 7 right now, so that you can look at the directions and my writing will make sense. Otherwise, what I write is probably going to look really weird. Okay? All right. I want to start with page 7, and page 7 is all about the midpoint formula. So we're going to start right there with the midpoint formula. Here's the midpoint formula. No, you don't have to memorize it, but it's good for you to have it. Mx, which is the midpoint x coordinates, comma midpoint y coordinates, is found by taking the 2x coordinates, adding them together, dividing by 2. And the midpoint y is found by taking the y coordinates, adding them together, and dividing those by 2. Okay? So this will be the formula that we are going to use for this entire page of notes. This example will help you with page 7, questions 8 through 11. The directions read this. I'm going to read it and I'm going to write it in shorthand at the same time. Okay, for the moment, just watch, okay, without writing the directions as well.
You said 8 through 11?
8 through 11 on page 7, yes, sir. All right, here we go. Find the coordinates of the midpoints of the segment with the given endpoints. Now, if you're reading it and it looks like it doesn't make any sense, that's okay.
Wait, what did you say?
This is shorthand. It might not make sense to you, and it doesn't have to, because it's my shorthand. It only has to make sense to me. But notice how quickly I was able to write that full sentence. It went way faster than if I sat and I wrote down every single word the whole way out. So again, if you've got one of those teachers, it's what I wrote is literally EDPTS, but it stands for endpoints. Okay? Because it's shorthand. All right? And notice what I did for my shorthand. It's very much like text speech. Right? Like if I'm texting and you take out, because you've only got 160 characters, and so you take out vowels of stuff you don't need. It's like, oh, people will know that if I put W8, I'm saying wait. Right? It's that. Okay? So text speech is totally a legitimate form of shorthand. And in your notes, it doesn't matter if anyone else can read them because they're not their notes, they're your notes. All right? All right, so there's the shorthand for the directions. So I need 2 points, and I want to hear 2 different point names from 2 different voices. Go.
A.
Thank you. G. Thank you. All right, I need coordinates for each of these points. So I want to hear 4 different numbers from 4 different voices. Please make some positive and negative. Go.
No,
12.
2, 1, 12.
6.
I think I already heard that voice.
No, miss,
I need another one.
12.
12. Okay. We'll have more points, so if you didn't get a chance to shout out a number now, take somewhere on your paper, write the number that you want to shout out so you don't forget it, and then shout it out when I ask for the next one.
Didn't you want negatives?
Yeah, I wanted some negative, some positive. These ended up all positive, so.
So
Okay, miss, I
Okay.
changed mine to
Write an
negative
A and a
1.
G.
Change the negative. Yeah, that's an A and a G. All right, so now we have a negative. All right. We were asked to find the coordinates of the midpoint, so we're going to take our midpoint formula, which is at the top of the screen, and we're going to copy it back down. So midpoint x coordinate equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And then over here, we're going to find the midpoint y coordinate, which is y1 plus y2. All of that over 2. Okay? So we're going to do this twice, the exact same thing each time. Which point, A or G, is x1, y1? M? Well, which of these 2 points, A or G, is M1, is x1, y1? A? Okay, you said that with a question voice because you're afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to be wrong because there's no wrong answer to this. You could have picked G too. All right? So your choice when you were asked, which one do you want to be x1, y1, you pick any one you want. You want A? All right, A it is. So now that you have x1, y1, this one must be x2, y2. I'm going to substitute. Turn it down, please. Thank you, thank you. And as I'm writing, you're going to get to hear what it was like going to college with me when I had to sit down and take notes. Okay? Watch the substitution and listen to what it sounds like to take a college class with me and have me take notes sitting next to you. It sounds something like this. Clatter, 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 which is so much better than it used to be, because my first year I had one of those Orbital pens that had all the different colored inks, and so you'd hear click, 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 click. It drove me crazy. I just bought different colored pens. All right, next thing I need to do is this 2 plus 12. Someone help?
14.
Thank you very much, 14. And now I need to do this 14 divided by 2. Someone help? 7, thank you very much. All right, did I do all the substitutions correctly?
Yes.
Did I do all my additions or subtractions correctly? Did I do any of my divisions or multiplications properly? Then my answer is right. So if you're showing all your steps and you're worried, am I right or not, that's how you can check, okay? Those simple questions. Go ahead and do the same thing for midpoint Y right now. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to get started, and then I'm going to catch up with you. And again, you'll get to hear what it's like to sit next to me in a college course and have me take notes. Go ahead and get started. I'll catch up. All right, here I go. As I'm writing, please double check what I'm doing and make sure that I'm substituting correctly. I'm going to go ahead and do the additions and stuff. Please make sure that I've done my additions correctly. How'd I do?
Pretty good.
I did good?
Yes.
I get 100 on this one from you?
I need to find out your answer.
Okay, double check my answer. What do you think?
Okay, good.
It's good? 100?
Yes.
Yes. So we were asked to find the coordinates of the midpoint. What are the coordinates of my midpoint? 7 and 5.5. Oh, because you did 11 divided by 2? All right, let's just leave it as the fraction and write it as 11 divided by 2. All right, nicely done. Thank you very much. This next example will help you get through page 7, questions 12 through 15. I'm going to shorthand the directions for you again so you have another example. Make sure you use your blue book so that you can translate my shorthand. Use the given endpoint R and midpoint M of line segment RS to find the coordinates of the other endpoint S. All right. So they gave me R and M. I need coordinates.
3.
Give me 4 voices with 4 different numbers, 4 different voices, 4 numbers, positive or negative. I heard 3. Negative 4 and 5. Negative 7. Thank you very much, everyone who provided a number. There should be one more opportunity to provide numbers soon. So if you didn't get a chance to, go ahead and get your number ready to go for the next time I call for numbers. You've been asked to do something with midpoint. So once again, we're going back to that midpoint formula. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. Midpoint x equals x1 plus x2 over 2. And midpoint y, which looks a whole lot like the word my, just realized, y1 plus y2 over 2. All right. Now there's a difference between how we use the formula now and how we use the formula before. And that's because we were given an endpoint and a midpoint. Before we were given 2 endpoints. Now we're given 1 endpoint and 1 midpoint. Which point is the midpoint, R or M? Which point is the midpoint? R or M? Look back at the directions. Which one says endpoint? Midpoint. M. So M is your midpoint, which means this is midpoint X and this is midpoint Y. So when we do our substitutions, you're going to replace midpoint X and midpoint Y with those numbers, which means that R is either X1, Y1 or X2, Y2. And you get to pick which one he is. X2? All right. So R is X2, Y2. I'm going to substitute now, and I'm going to replace what I have. Here I go. MX is 5. I don't have X1, but I have X2. There we go. That's what I have. Unlike the first time when I had my variable already isolated, I just had to do multiplications, divisions, just like normal number stuff. Now I have to solve for X1. So the question I have for you is, how do I get rid of that fraction in that equation? We did this a couple weeks ago when we were doing linear equations. How do I get rid of that fraction in the equation? Put a 1 under the 5. Okay, how does that help? Okay. Because it turns it into a fraction too, and then maybe we can do stuff with it. That's the start of something really strong and really powerful, and I like it. Something that's going to be very helpful to you in Algebra 2. Can I have you remind me of that later and cut a video to walk you through that later? Okay, because if I do that, then the technique behind it's going to get us confused on what we're doing now. Okay, so I don't want to show it now, even though what you said is the start of something amazing, and I don't want you to lose it. Okay. So he had turned this into a fraction to try to do something. What's the operation happening right here with this bar? Division. How do you undo division? What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply it. What am I trying to get rid of? The fraction, the thing on the bottom. So what am I trying to get rid of? The 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So over here on the left-hand side of your margin, write a note for yourself of what it is that we did here and why you got rid of that 2. Get rid of fractions. In the equation is what I'm going to write. We did that by multiplying by that bottom number. All right, so here we go. I need to get the x1 by itself. What can I do? Subtract the 3, you said, because we're trying to undo this addition by 3. So we're going to do the opposite, and I'm going to be left with 7 equals x1. I didn't write the work this time. Good question. Where did I get the 7? I subtracted 3 from this side. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So 10 minus 3 is? There it is. Nicely done. Do the same thing for the midpoint y side. I'll give you a few seconds to start your substitution, and then I will catch up with you. Start now. All right, here we go. Here I go. As I'm writing it, please make sure that you are that I am substituting correctly. Okay? Not that you are substituting correctly, that I'm doing the substitution correctly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start solving this. I'm not going to write my workout. I'm just going to write the next line of the problem. So be thinking through what it is I did. What did I do? I multiplied. What did I multiply by?
2.
The 2. Why did I multiply it by 2? It's because I'm dividing by 2 and I wanted to get rid of it. Nicely done. Team effort. I loved it. What did I do? Subtracted 4 or added 4 because I had this negative there. Negative 14 plus 4, negative 10. Nicely done. So what are the coordinates for S? Seven and negative 10.
Is that, which one was that one for? Oh, 12.
What step did I lose you on? The Y right here? From here to here? From the top? So just like I did here on the X, I substituted. Look at the color. Look at the color coordination. You see how I substituted those? He's looking. And he's looking. You see the substitution now? All right, I'm going to point it out to you. This is my, yes? Here's my, negative 7. So instead of my, I'm going to write negative 7. This is y2, y2. So instead of y2, I'm going to write negative 4. You see it? All right, so from there to there, I did the same thing I did over here. I multiplied everything by 2.
We got a 3.
And then I moved the negative 4 over. It became a positive 4. And there it is. You see it now? Awesome. Thank you, thank you. All right. Good job on the midpoint. Let's switch over and let's do distance on page 8. On page 8, the distance. I need a new sheet of paper because I'm at the bottom of mine. If you still have room on yours, more power to you. Hooray. Hoorah. But I have to get a new sheet of paper. You are welcome to write on the back. Yes, ma'am. I can't because I'm using like really strong highlighters and thick pens, and it goes right through, and it becomes a big mess. So I have to get a fresh new paper each time. All right. I want to start with the distance formula. And here's what the distance formula says. You don't have to memorize it. I have it memorized now because I've been writing it 20 million times a day. Okay. Ask me in the middle of July, and I'm going to be like, let me go to Google. Okay. So I have it memorized right now because I'm using it lots. Now, you saw the way I wrote it, my square roots, I don't put the bar on top until I know I'm done with what I'm taking the square root of. So I know how long to make the bar. And then my bar on top has this little tail to be a visual indicator of I'm done now with that. Because sometimes there's more that comes after it and I never know what's part of it. Okay? So this is the distance formula and this is what we'll be using for this half page of notes. Okay. This example will help you on page 8 to do numbers 16 through 19 and 22 through 25. So this one example should get you through almost the entire page. I need 2 letters from 2 different voices.
Why?
Z and Y. You're giving me the letter, right? Okay. I need 4 different voices to give me 4 different numbers. Please make some negative and positive. Go. 3, 5, -10, -1. Woo!
My number,
What did I heard 5 from you? Yes.
I said 3.
You said 3. You're the first one. I've got a 3. I got a 3. I got a 3. Calm down. Don't hurt me. All right. I'm going to write the directions for the first part in shorthand. Ready? Shorthand directions for the first portion goes, find the length of the segment round to the nearest tenth of a unit. That's the shorthand for those directions. Okay? Now for this first section, shorthand, find the length. If you go to your book on page 8, I'm just copying the directions down. But I'm doing it in a way that's shorter than what you see normally, okay?
What's after segment?
Period, round to the nearest tenth of a unit. Now this section, 16 through 19, has a graph. It has an X and Y grid. And now I'm going to put the points that y'all gave me. So the first one was Z, 0.35. And the other one was the letter Y, -10, -1. And this was drawn by the famous geometer, not to scale, because clearly those are not in the right spot. But that's okay. No one cares really what the picture looks like. It's just to give us an idea, a rough estimate, okay? So this is not to scale. Don't freak out, okay? Please. Okay. All right. I'm being asked to find the length. The length is just another way to say distance. But it's not to scale. So I can't measure it with a ruler.
They're trying to find the length.
You're right. But it also means distance, so I can use the... What's the name of it? The distance formula. So we can use the what? You're right. So we're going to copy down that distance formula one more time. So this is the distance between Z and Y. I'm going to scoot it over a little bit. I think I'm going to run out of room here. There it is. Which point, Y or Z, is X1, Y1? Which point do you want to be X1, Y1? Y. They want the point Y to be X1, Y1, which means Z is X2, Y2.
I cannot see what you said. You can't see it.
You can see, okay, because the ink is wet. There you go.
Oh, you're cool. You have some magic going on.
No, I just got ink all over my fingers is all. I'm not that cool. Thank you, though. I appreciate the thought. Another way to write, this, because that looks really weird. That looks like I wrote dizzy. like really all funny. So another way to write this distance of zy is just to write the letter z and the letter y. So there's distance of zy. Now do your substitutions. Okay, I'm going to do it with you, and it's going to sound a lot like what it would sound like if you were taking a class with me in college. Okay? And watch my substitutions to make sure I do them right, because I've messed them up like in every single class so far. Okay? I'm going to try really hard to do it right this time. Here I go. Watch me for mistakes.
No, miss, it's wrong.
Which one?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
April Fools.
We're not in April yet. October Fools.
No way.
All right. Did I get everything? Did I write it right?
Yes.
Double check it. If I'm wrong, tell me.
You didn't put the
I forgot something.
square root.
I have the square root.
I mean, no, the two, the little two.
Oh, the square up here.
Yeah,
Oh, the exponent. Thank you. I'm always going to mess up something. Okay. The directions say round it to the nearest tenth of a unit. Oh, that's a decimal. I get to use the calculators. I don't have one up here because I'm going to rely on you. Go to your calculators. If you're using the TI Inspires, there's an extra hero right there by the projector so that she can have one or you guys can have one. And type in literally this. Excuse me. Under the scratch pad. Yeah, the calculate scratch pad.
We can't put Z and Y in. What we can't.
Yeah, don't put the ZY. Just put, holy cow. Calculate. Just this portion. You need a hero? Go get a hero. I need a hero. Or should it be the other one? Because that's the Skillet song. Right?
like this one.
You like the Skillet one better? How does it start? Yeah, it's really cool. Okay. I'll try to remember it and sing it until, and you'll put up with my horrible singing. And then Lex is going to give me private lessons, right?
Why?
Because you're in choir. So you can teach me how to sing.
I know this.
Okay.
14.31.
14.31.
Oh, the rest of
Give me two more.
7, 8.
7, 8. All right. Anyone else get a different number? Or is everyone getting the same thing?
I got it first.
We got the same thing.
You got the same thing? Where's your calculator?
It's in my mind.
It's in your mind. You are amazing to be able to do that in your brain. All right. Anyone get anything different? Okay, so you got the same thing? All right. You got 205? Got 205. Okay. How many got the 1431? Just real quick. Okay, quick showing. That's about more than half. And so I would hesitate to say, or I would urge you to go back and look at how you put that in the calculator and check to make sure you didn't accidentally put a number in the wrong place or something.
Miss, how do you take?
No, everything looks okay?
Because I put the 2 exponent and then it keeps doing the equation like up there on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my.
All right. So. Okay. So we don't know how to get.
Like off the exponent. What did you put?
I pushed the down arrow.
Oh,
Okay. So the first one should look like this, and then plus
okay. There.
parentheses. Okay. Is that what you got, sir? Is that what you put in the calculator? Or were you using your phone's calculator? Okay. Did you get it to look exactly like this? Yes?
You're supposed to put that.
Yeah, you have to put the square root bar. You didn't? Okay, that's all right. So you put, basically, you put the stuff inside and it gave you that 205? Okay, so all you need to do is do the square root and then answer. And the answer is control and then the negative button. See the A and S? That's answer. And then if you hit enter, that should come up with the right one? Yeah? Okay. Thank you. All right. But we've been asked to round, haven't we? Okay, so this is the tenths place. Can y'all remember what number I'm supposed to look at to round this thing? The one right after, the one right before? The one right after, this 1. Now, this 1, you're going to compare it to 5. Is it less than 5? Yes. Then you're not going to do anything to this number you're rounding to. If it's 5 or more, you're going to do something to it.
You're gonna add 1.
Perfect. Perfectly said. You're going to add 1. Yes. I'm not, because it's smaller than 5, so this is my distance. Now let's connect this to questions 22 to 25, and then we'll call it done. Look at the directions for 22 and 25 in your book on page 8. It says, the endpoints of 2 segments are given. So you have 2 different segments, and you're given the points, these, the coordinates. Find each segment length. What are you being asked to find? The length, which is the same as the distance, which means you're going to use the which formula? The distance formula. How many times are you going to do the distance formula for each one of those? Twice. Why? Because there's 2 different segments, line segments. I'm going to combine both of your answers. There's 2 different line segments. Nicely done. And then the third sentence of that direction says, tell whether the segments are congruent. What does congruent mean? Same size, same shape. I'm going to focus on the same size portion right now. If it's the same size, it has the same shape. Not necessarily. But these are going to have the same shape. I'm focusing on just same size. So same size means they have the same length. And if they're the same length, they have the same distance. And you've just found the distance with the which formula? The distance formula. So what should you do with those 2 distances that you got?
Add them.
You're looking to see whether they're the same or not. What should you do?
Compare them.
Compare them. And if they're the same, then the lines are? And if they're not the same, then the lines are? You guys are fantastic. I will be taking pages 7 and 8 for a full grade tomorrow.